Hello. Today we'll be going over how to create a simple layout in Paragon. We'll cover everything you need to know to start building your own layouts quickly and accurately. Let's begin with creating a bearing envelope. A bearing envelope represents elements in the layout that can carry loads, such as walls, beams, or columns. To insert a bearing envelope, click Create and select Bearing Envelope. Alternatively, you can right-click on the layout and choose Bearing Envelope. Or use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-Q and click Bearing Envelope. This will open the Bearing Envelope creation window where you can fill in the necessary details. Once everything is set, you're ready to insert the bearing. There are two insertion methods, direction plus length method and point selection method. With the direction plus length method, you set the dimensions first, then use the arrow keys on your keyboard or screen to add the bearing in the desired direction. You can also use the point selection method. In this method, you can either set specific coordinates or simply click anywhere on the layout to place the bearing. If you need to add multiple bearings simultaneously, select Insert and Repeat. Otherwise, click Insert and Close to complete the process. To ensure the correct dimensions are applied, pay attention to the justification setting. If you're placing the bearing in a counterclockwise direction, set the justification to front. If you're going clockwise, set it to back. For this example, let's try using the direction length method. Set the justification to back, input the desired dimension, then press the arrow key. Click Insert and Repeat, or press Enter in your keyboard to continue adding until we complete the load-bearing structure for our plan. Once we're on the last envelope to add, we can either use the direction plus length method or the point selection insertion method. For easier placement, use the available snaps here based on your needs. Make sure justification is correct, select the starting point where we began, and click Insert and Close. With the bearing successfully added, let's move on and try to add a beam. To insert a beam, let's use a work line. In layout mode, adding a work line follows the same launch methods as adding a bearing. Right-click and select Work Line, and a window will appear. There are three methods to add it. First is the parallel insertion method. Simply click on any line in the layout. If you want to offset the line, enter the desired offset and press an arrow key to continue. Afterward, click Insert to place the work line. Now the work line has been successfully added. Next is point-to-point insertion method. Simply click 2 points in the layout, and a line will be added intersecting those 2 points. Lastly, there's point-angle insertion method. Select a point and enter the desired angle or slope to insert the line. Now, let's remove these work lines and add the necessary ones for our beam. Once that's done, let's insert another bearing envelope. Use the point selection method and add the bearing envelope. This time, adjust the bottom height to simulate it as a beam. For example, let's adjust the bottom height to this height and insert. Now let's check the 3D view to verify. As we can see here, it has been correctly added as a beam. It looks like we're ready to add a roof plane. To add a roof plane, use the same launch method and select Roof Plane. A window will appear where you can set the necessary information for your plan. Once you've entered the details, click on a bearing envelope to place the roof plane. You can also add a roof plane to a work line if needed. For this layout, let's set the slope to 6 and the overhang to 1 foot. Next, change the heel method to heel height and set the height to this height. Then, click on a bearing envelope to apply it. You should now see the roof plane added. Continue this process until all necessary roof planes are inserted. As you can see here, the roof plane was added in the opposite direction. To fix this, simply click Flip, and you can continue adding. Now we're ready to cut the roof planes. Simply click on the roof plane you want to cut, then select the cut plane to cut against other roof planes. While cutting one, you can press and hold the Shift key to cut vertically along any object. Let's start by holding Shift and click this line. Next, let's click the opposite roof plane to cut against, this time without holding Shift, so it automatically resolves the intersection of these two planes. Hold Shift again and click this line and click Finish Cutting to complete. Repeat this process for the remaining roof planes. Here, as you can see, the roof plane wasn't cut correctly. If you make a mistake while cutting, simply select the roof plane again and click Recut Plane to try again. It looks like the planes we've added have been cut correctly. We can move on to adding a ceiling plane. The concept is the same as adding a roof plane. For this layout, we'll create a sloped ceiling. Set the slope to 3. Then cut the ceiling planes. Let's check the 3D view again to verify if both the roof plane and ceiling plane have been added correctly. As we can see here, everything has been added correctly as intended. Now we're ready to add a truss envelope. A truss envelope defines the shape of a truss based on the roof or floor layout and helps generate and position component designs. To add a truss envelope, right-click and select Truss Envelope. In the Creation window, set it to Roof Truss to create a roof truss envelope. Now, adjust the snapping behavior and distance for the first envelope. The closest base option will snap the envelope to the nearest baseline relative to your mouse cursor, while the best envelope will snap to the closest envelope based on your mouse position. For this layout, set the snap distance to 2 feet and lock the base to this bearing envelope. We'll leave other settings unchanged for now, as they'll be covered in another video here in our channel. Once done, click to insert the first envelope. You can either select Insert and Repeat to add another envelope, or Insert and Start Run to continue placing envelopes across the layout. Since we're adding truss envelopes across the layout, click Insert and Start Run to begin. When the new window appears, set the spacing distance. If this button is unchecked, the truss envelopes that you're going to add will keep the original span, otherwise it will auto-recalculate. Click until here to fill the layout with trusses. Next, let's add a gable truss. Open the Truss Envelope Creation window again Ensure that Snap Against Bearing envelope is enabled to speed up the insertion process. Clear the snapping distance to set it to automatic, then click on the bearing envelope to place the truss. If the envelope doesn't appear when you try to place it, check the justification setting. Once adjusted, click Insert to add the gable truss. Let's check other areas for any missing truss envelopes. Here's one. Let's add one here. And another one over here. Now we successfully added the truss envelopes. If you want to adjust or bound the truss envelope ends to a specific work line, click on the desired work line and then select this button to ensure all newly added truss envelopes stop at this work line. For existing truss envelopes, right-click on the one you want to adjust and click Recalculate. As we can see, it adjusts accordingly. After setting up the layout, check the 3D view to ensure everything looks correct. Turn on the solid view to visualize the truss envelope's profile. If no solid appears for a specific truss envelope, the software will generate an error when you try to design the truss. For a quick visual check, hover over a truss envelope to see a thumbnail preview. To finish up, let's design all the trusses. Let's take one final look at the 3D view and layout to ensure everything is correct. Here we can see that the truss designs can still be improved. Check out our other videos for an in-depth tutorial on how to edit and modify components. I hope you gained valuable insights from this video. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to explore our other videos and documentation for more helpful information.